Here again with Sandy. How are you, Sandy?
Really good. Thanks, Brett. How are you?
Doing good. Yeah. It's I guess well into December now. So
Mm.
yeah,
I don't know
we're
how we got here already.
I know it's kind of crazy. Yeah, this last few weeks have really flown by,
Mm.
which often does
Oh,
when
I'm
you're
sure.
away.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, so I thought, do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because
Mm,
that looked really great. I didn't get to be there, but it looked like it was very well done.
yeah, absolutely. So last week was the European SharePoint conference, which we'll get to. But just prior to that, we were also at the London Business Show, which was at the
Mm-hmm.
Excel Centre in
Mm.
London. That's in the Canary Wharf area
Mm.
of London. For those that know that, if you think of great big tower that looks like it's got a triangular roof with
Uh,
HSBC written on the side, that's where we're
mm.
talking about for Canary Wharf. So within that sort of area, and it's where the O2 Arena is, and
Mm.
so on. So it was a fantastic event to be at.
It's
It
not
takes
really
a
SharePoint related,
not
right, at
SharePoint
all,
related
right?
at all. No,
Mm.
absolutely. So they take over a great big expo hall. I mean, the national. Oh, sorry, it's the Excel Center. It's mostly like huge halls with like a great big gangway there where you can break off into all the different expo
Mm.
areas. But yeah, within that hall, they have little sort of pop-up sessions with somewhat soundproofing around, so that yeah, you can have little audiences, people that are sponsoring or exhibiting at the event can give some sessions on different things. And each year they have different sections within that expo hall based on the type of exhibitor. So they may have
Mm.
like a legal area, they may have a technology area and a leadership area and
Mm.
so on. So there
Mm.
is different types of things as well as sort of sole traders and what have you also.
Mm.
So
Oh, so
you
who's the audience in this for this conference?
Well, it's a
The
free
attendees.
free to attend. So you get
Mm.
quite a mixture, but it's mostly people that are in business of some sort. But they also send a lot of students to the event as well
Oh,
from universities and so on that may be studying business or
um,
studying accounting or something like that. So they can also go and learn from actual businesses and have
mm.
conversations with them. So
Mm.
so it's good from that point of view. Except for the fact that we took our racing simulator that we had on our booth, and that was a great attraction for all the students. So, yeah, we had a line of students
No, I guess I didn't
all
realize.
wanting to have a go. So,
Nice.
um, but yeah, the
Then they're gonna think, oh, that's what you do all day at work, which
exactly
is true in your case, but
right. So yeah, I mean, sometimes you get conversations that may not go anywhere. I mean, we always, of course, go in with an open mind, but there's some people that may be a sole trader within a certain industry. It may be the beauty industry, or it may be the motor industry or something like that, and they really are like a maybe a sole trader, or there's a small company of 5 people, which of
mm,
course isn't our target audience. And when they're sort of asking what we do, they glaze over
mm,
and so on. And it's like, here, have some swag. Off you go. But you never know as well. We
mm,
had some great conversations with people that are consultants and so on. They're IT consultants. They did get what we do, and they can
mm,
certainly look at using our products with their customers, because obviously Microsoft 365 shows up for almost everybody nowadays.
mm,
So that was great. And I myself actually learned a lot from a speaker. So there was certain times where twiddling thumbs a little bit on the booth. So I went and sat in on a few sessions with a speaker called Kim Cavert, and she runs. Here, I've got it actually in my back pocket, so I can remember the name of the company. Um, Dynamite Lifestyle.
mm,
So it really, really powerful story about how she started her career as a nurse, and working for the NHS, and actually reached the tip of her pay scale but wasn't able to make ends meet, and so on, and had that sort of light bulb moment where, okay, something has to change in my life because I'm not satisfied with how it is going, and decided to start following a lot of sort of coaching videos so that she could get some mentorship about, an idea of building a business. So she did that, and she's now a multi-millionaire and so on, and helping other people to get into that same sort of mindset. And one of the things she actually gives out to her entire audience is one of these, which is like a goal card, not gold card, goal card. And so you write your biggest goal on there and you look at it every day, which is why it's in my pocket. So yeah, that was a great thing for me, and quite a surprise, because I didn't go there for that, but I thought, yeah, this is really useful. So
Nice.
so that was nice. So it's a great event to be at.
Oh, cool.
And then
do I remember? Do I remember there was a special working from home section or theme or something, and that's where we were?
well, we were meant to be. We ended up not being in that section at all, and we actually ended up being in the leadership section, which may or may not have been by mistake, but yeah, it was useful for me to be there because I was actually learning a lot from the people that were around me. But yeah, we kind of like didn't fit with all of that in terms of what we did. So yeah, there we go. But yeah, then we traveled to Amsterdam, and we took our Lightning Tools transit van and caught the ferry overnight, which was interesting. I got to share a room with Jared and Matt, and a little cabin on on the
very
ferry.
small room, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then yeah, we arrived in Amsterdam, and we built our booth, which was actually a British pub. So in the back of our van, we had a British pub in the back of our van. So an actual proper bar, which we built. We purchased, but we had to dismantle it and then build it when we got to Amsterdam. And then we also had a pool table as well, and a fireplace, and so on. So yeah, our booth was really, really cool. Great place to hang out for the week, and I think everybody enjoyed it. So yeah, it was,
and were you able to
fantastic.
have real beer? They allowed you to pour beers?
We bought some beer because you always get into red tape at exhibitions with giving away free alcohol and things like that. It ends up costing a fortune, because it's like, well, you can either sell our alcohol, in which case we're going to sell it to you for a really expensive price, or we're going to charge you the same if you want to actually use your own alcohol. So we just had a handful for some of the people we know and things like that. We couldn't have a pub and no beer, so we had to bring some on. But, there we go. So
and then there was a pool game, I understand.
Yeah, so if you look at the Lightning Tools logo, you'll see that there's the different colors, and these are also the different colors of the pool balls on the pool table. So the idea is that we put 5 balls in the arrangement of the Lightning Tools logo, and then you had to put all of those balls in the least amount of tries. And you can tell there was quiet times on the booth, because Matt was the first to do this. He achieved all 5 balls down in 3 shots. I eventually got there in 3 shots, and then Jared eventually got there in 3 shots. So yeah, we couldn't better that, but nobody beat us though. So yeah, the winner of our Lego actually got all the balls down in 5 shots. So
well, that's still pretty good.
It was.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah,
and probably also successful as far as booth stuff goes.
Yeah, we had some great conversations. So Knut Reldmo is working with us now. He's a Microsoft MVP as well in the Microsoft 365 space, and he is speaking with different partners, because that's one of the things that's a big driver for us at the moment. We do a lot of direct sales with different customers, but we're also looking to expand our partners so that we can grow further through the partner model. So there are some great potential partners that we're going to be talking with, and or talking more with, and we also had lots of good conversations with some clients as well. DeliverPoint being probably the star of the show. Lots of people very interested in the permissions management, permissions reporting. Exactly. And then we also attended a few sessions too, so it was great to listen to what's new. We saw or heard the so some of the announcements about SharePoint embedded, which was useful. There was lots of Copilot announcements and things like that, which is great to hear about. So yeah, really great event.
Cool. Yeah, it seemed like this time Microsoft saved some announcements for that event that they didn't necessarily talk about at Ignite, which wasn't that long ago. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was very good of them.
Well, a lot of Microsoft people were there, right? Some really high up people in this space, I think I saw, right? Jeff Teeper and Dan Hall.
They were there, as well as Caruana and also Mark Cashman was there. I didn't actually get to see Mark, but he was there. So yeah, it's very good.
Very good.
So sort of speaking about Copilot, it's going to link across to something here as well.
Okay.
So this month we're focused on forms, and
right.
something we've not really shouted about too much here is actually the Kudzu product that is through a partnership as well. So Kudzu have a tool that actually works with different vendors for building forms. So we're not alone here. There's people like Nintex and so on that are also partnered with Kudzu. But one of the things or the main use for Kudzu is to migrate forms that are legacy forms into SharePoint list-based forms, empowered by a third-party tool. Now, this could also be Power Apps, so you don't have to go third-party if you don't want to. You could remain with Microsoft, but maybe take your InfoPath forms and migrate them to Power App forms, which are SharePoint list-driven, or Nintex-based forms, or Lightning Forms-based forms, and so on. And it doesn't have to be InfoPath either. You can migrate from PDF forms. So
yeah, I think that's super cool.
I mean, last 2 weeks I've been sat on a form that I've been meaning to complete myself to be able to get back to somebody. It's actually about getting a different office and so on. And it's sent to me in a PDF. It's like, I can't do anything with this. I have to print it, I have to handwrite it, I have to scan it, and I'm away from my office, I'm away from my home. We're in an Airbnb, not a hotel, so there's no business center and so on. So it's just not that convenient to be able to do that. So it'd be much more convenient if you can actually take that PDF, make that a SharePoint list-based form, so you've got a digital form to be able to fill out. And then if you want the output to be a PDF, we can do that too, and I'll come to that one. But so we covered in there is the PDF forms. There's also Excel forms. You can, in a roundabout way, do Word forms as well. You can do sketches of forms, or just a picture of a form, and as well as the InfoPath form. So you can take those as the input, and Kudzu will read the design of the form, and it will replicate it using its own form engine called Uniform, allowing you to, prior to pushing that out into SharePoint, to make some changes. So if you decided that, this InfoPath form has been driving me nuts for the last 10 years that we've had it because it doesn't ask this question or whatever, you could go through and add that field, or you could change the layout, certainly whilst you're inside the Kudzu experience, and then you can publish it out. And when you publish it, it's going to create the lists for you. So if you think of a form that has 150 fields, that's a lot of clicking to actually go through and create all of those columns in the lists and set them to the right field type and add any default calculations or anything like that. So there's a lot of manual work there before you actually get to the layout of the form and any customizations that you might make to that in terms of styling or sublists and so on. So it will do all of that for you as you push it out. It will build the lists at the site that you mentioned. It will create all of the columns for you. There'll be the right data type. It will then use the Lightning Forms component to lay out the form. So if you've got tabs on the InfoPath form, you'll have tabs in the Lightning Forms form, and it will also take across any logic as well that's client side. So if you've got VB code in your InfoPath form, it's not going to necessarily take all of that, but it will tell you that prior to deploying it. So yeah, there's a 95% success of pushing this form out using Kudzu. It's going to do all of this for you. What it's not going to do is this this percentage here where it's custom code or whatever. But at least you know that, and most of that work has been done for you, and you can just go in and fill those gaps out.
Right. Yeah, and it might end up being easier on the other end because, maybe what you had in code and info path can just be actions.
Doesn't have to be code.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right.
And
exactly.
same with repeating tables too, right? If you had that in info path.
A repeating table becomes a sublist. Yeah, so really powerful. So you're probably wondering, like, what's this got to do with Copilot? Whereas I mentioned that was the link into talking about this one. So one of the new-ish things in Kudzu is actually the KudzuBot, and you can ask it a human question or give it a human instruction rather to build a form. So maybe you're not migrating from an existing form, but somebody says, hey, I would like to have a purchase order form in SharePoint, or I would like to have an expenses form in SharePoint, and so on. Again, you've got a lot of heavy lifting to do. You've got to go through and provision the lists. You've got to add all the columns. You've got to think about it, and brainstorm the fields that you might want and what logic they're going to have, and so on. Or you could go into the KudzuBot and say, build me a purchase order form. And yeah, it will create, based on sort of chat GPT type functionality, a purchase order form. And you can use, again, that uniform experience to say, all right, well, you kind of got it. I want to take away this field, or I want to add this field, or I want to create this section, and so on. And you can continue that conversation with the KudzuBot in order to be able to get the form right, or you can use the tool in the uniform and then push it out, and it will build that into SharePoint for you.
Yeah, I think that's really neat because it takes what would typically be on, for example, a purchase order form or an employment application form. And the examples I've seen, it usually gets things pretty right.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't need Copilot to do this.
Right.
This will work with any version of SharePoint. So yeah, it's not. Yeah, of course, there's a cost to Kudzu, but it's not the large cost that you have with Copilot and so on. So if you haven't got that, you can still use this with Kudzu to build out your forms.
Awesome.
Yeah, so if you're interested in seeing that, you can go onto our website. Under the products menu, you're going to find the Kudzu form migrator there. But we're also going to be covering that actually in our webinar as well.
Next week.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to build something a little bit around the holidays or Christmas and so on. So
all right, that's a nice teaser.
Thinking along the lines of Christmas wish list form or something like that, kids can fill out, and then we'll have the document generator part of Lightning Forms is going to kick out a letter to Santa Claus. So yeah, so there are other tools that we'll be talking about. There is the Lightning Forms. I know we spoke about that last time. So Sandy, I've done a lot of talking here. I'll hand over to you. You can talk about some of the new features in Lightning Forms that we'll be jumping into.
Sure. Yeah, so we'll have a new release coming out this month of Lightning Forms, which is our SharePoint list form customization tool that we've just been talking about. And one of the major new features is support for multiple content types. So if you have your SharePoint custom list and you've enabled content types, so maybe your list includes invoice fields, but also contact fields, or some things that are more related than that, perhaps. And so when people are creating, out of the box, when people are creating a new item in the list, they could choose, do they want to create a new item or a new contact, for example. And so now in Lightning Forms, you can have a different form open depending on which of those content types the person chooses to do. And also have or have different sections of the form enabled or visible or not, depending on the content type. So I think that'll be a really big benefit, and it's something that's been asked for a while. So we're happy to be able to add that. In addition, we're also adding versioning to our forms. So you can, if you've designed a form in the Lightning Forms designer screen, once you've done that and had a try of it, and you want to go back and try, make some more modifications, then that'll be a different version number, and you'll see up in the upper right kind of the different versions that you've saved, and so you can always revert back to a previous version if that's what you need to do. If you find that something didn't quite work out the way you wanted it to, then you can revert back to a previous version, which again is something that people have been interested in for a while. So I think those are the two major things, and then some smaller tweaks as always.
Yeah, fantastic. So I'm
Mm.
just thinking in my head now how we might want to demonstrate that around the
Uh-huh.
children's wish list, but
Yeah.
maybe we can differentiate between two different types of wishes. So whether it's a toy or a book
Mm.
or
Yeah.
uh, sweets or chocolate or candy or chocolate or something along those lines. So yeah,
Mm. That's a
so we
good
could have
idea.
different fields based on
Uh-huh.
on that
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
So
Or maybe the age of the child or something. Maybe you could.
yeah, should be good. Yeah.
Cool.
So that we can add automation to that as well. So
Mm-hmm.
there is
Right.
what was known as Lightning List
All right.
Actions, which is
Mm-hmm.
now Lightning Tools Actions.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it's dropped list in the name is because Lightning Tools Actions now isn't just in the list. So the idea or what the product did give you was the ability to add automation across multiple selected items in a list.
Mm-hmm.
So this could be like a setting a field to approved or sending emails to the person that filled out the list or something along those lines. What we can now do is actually use the Lightning Tools actions on a page as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can design a button or a tile and so on, and have that call a list of actions. So if you think of like the quick links web part that you get with SharePoint out the box, where you can have buttons onto a page that does just link to something,
Mm-hmm.
this is a similar sort of idea, except for it can actually perform actions. And it might
Yeah.
be opening up a specific form, or it may be setting certain field values on that form.
Mm-hmm.
It could be sending an email and so
Mm-hmm.
on. So yeah, lots of different actions
Mm-hmm.
can be created together that could be conditional actions and so on as
Mm-hmm.
well. So yeah, we'll certainly be able to demonstrate that. And going back to the whole Christmas thing, maybe you
Mm-hmm.
can sort of approve or decline the wishes, or Santa could, of course. Yeah,
Right.
we're
Of
not going
course.
to be doing that, but Santa could go in and approve it or decline it. So yeah.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And then yeah, we have got the document
Right.
generator, which
Mm-hmm.
can take that completed form
Mm-hmm.
and put it into a Word document. And if you think of it as a Word document, that could then be printed in a nicely formatted Word document. Um, so applying it to something like a purchase order,
Mm-hmm.
of course, you could raise a purchase request inside of a form inside of your SharePoint environment, but you're going to need to get that across to your vendor so that they can actually act upon that purchase order.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't just want a link to a SharePoint list item;
Mm-hmm.
they need a document. So you could generate that document, have that email to them, or whatever, and yeah, they can then of course process it. Or it might be that you generate that document, get a record of that list item that's
Mm-hmm.
created, or just make it so it's shareable and so on as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a pretty common scenario in business too, that people have often looked for in the past is you've got all this information in SharePoint lists and some way of getting it out of the list and into people's hands, so to speak. Mm.
Yeah, exactly right. So yeah, so quite a few updates around the
Mm-hmm.
whole sort of forms realm
Mm-hmm.
of Lightning tools. So
Okay,
we'll be talking all about those on the webinar
right.
and making that information available.
And that'll be Thursday, whether you're in Asia Pacific region, it'll be your Thursday morning, or Thursday's kind of afternoon into evening, depending on where you
Yeah,
are. We've got two different
exactly.
times scheduled.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, certainly looking forward to that and
Mhm.
making those features available to everybody. So
Mm. Great.
yeah,
Sounds good. All right. Well, maybe I'll wish you happy holidays if we don't talk again before the holidays.
sounds good. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Have a
All right.
great one, everybody.
Okay. Thanks. You too. Bye.
Bye for now.